Hey everyone, it's Kate, and today's video is going to be a video on demonstrating how to better find your core using your breath, which is an important piece when it comes to using your core functionally, getting better core definition by really finding those deeper abdominal muscles, but also important when it comes to a lot of our Pilates exercises. So I thought this would be a great place to start. I'm outside on the deck. It's a beautiful day, but it's also really hot, so I'm hoping that this doesn't take all that long. All right, so if you're following along, go ahead and lie down on your back with your knees bent. And we're going to start with what we call diaphragmatic breathing. So you're going to go ahead and bring your hands along the left and right side of your rib cage. Before we start breathing, the other thing we're going to do is just work on finding a neutral spine by finding a neutral pelvis. So we'll switch the hands for a second down to the pelvis, fingertips in front, thumbs looped around the back, and we're just going to allow the pelvis to roll forward and back a few times. When you roll forward, you should feel your low back create more of a space away from the floor beneath you. When you tuck it back, you should almost feel your low back melt completely into the mat. In Pilates, we also call this imprinted. So we're going to find that position halfway in between where your pelvis is neutral or parallel with the surface you're lying on. Another cue we often use is if you're imagining a glass of red wine balancing on your pubic bone or on your pelvis, it wouldn't tilt left or right or up and down. It would stay perfectly centered. So now that we have a neutral pelvis, we're going to go ahead and bring those hands back to the rib cage. And we're going to work on diaphragmatic breathing. So we'll take a few breaths here. As you inhale, what we're imagining is expanding those ribs east to west. So we'll take a few breaths with that image. So we inhale on a 4 count. And exhale on a 6 count. We're going to break this down a little bit further in a minute. We'll do one more breath like that. Inhaling for 4. Exhaling for 6. So an important piece of diaphragmatic breathing is getting that lateral movement from the rib cage. That's something that's sometimes difficult for people to find right away. So we're going to break it down further by making sure that you're really getting movement from lower down around your diaphragm and not compensating at all from higher above around your sternum. So what we'll do now is bring one hand at your belly and one hand at your chest. We're going to take a few breaths. The focus is going to be on increasing the movement at the lower hand and really trying to minimize the hand above. So I'm going to demonstrate what it should not look like first. So as you inhale here, sometimes we see a lot of this where the shoulders are hiking up towards the ears, the chest is creating a lot of tension, but there's not a lot going on at the diaphragm. So we're going to try to do the opposite of that. So we'll take an inhale on that 4 count again, but this time as you inhale, trying to keep that top hand nice and still. We'll do 3 more breaths like that, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6. Inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6. Last one. Okay, we'll take a break there. So if you find that you're having difficulty just with that, of trying to minimize the movement here, I would stop there and just practice that movement for the next few days until you feel like you can get better movement from your diaphragm. Once you find that, then follow along the rest of this video. So once you do feel like you're finding good movement from your diaphragm, it's important to connect that to the rest of your core. So that's what we're going to work on now. So earlier, those first few breaths we took, we worked on that lateral movement from the rib cage. The reason that's important is it's helpful to move the ribs more out to the sides instead of up and down in order to get a better core activation, especially when we're starting to do harder Pilates exercises. So what we're going to do now is work on that lateral movement again. We'll focus on the inhale for the first few breaths. We'll pause, and then I'll start to cue you on the exhale. So we'll take 3 breaths focusing on that inhale. Again, we're going to inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. So we inhale and exhale. As we inhale, once again, we're working on that movement of the ribs, moving east to west, out to the sides, almost visualizing breathing into your back where that rib cage is. Let's do 2 more like that. And exhale for 6. Last one, inhaling for 4. And exhale for 6. We'll take a break for a moment. So the diaphragm is often thought of as part of the deeper core. It's the top of that soda can image. So your diaphragm is the top, your transverse abdominis, that deep layer of your core is the center, and then your pelvic floor is the bottom. We're not going to get too much into the pelvic floor in this video, but the rest of this video, we are going to start to find those lower deep abdominals. That's part of your transverse abdominis. The easiest way to start to find that muscle group is through your breath. When you force a long exhalation, your deep abdominals naturally start to engage. So it's a natural way to start to find those muscles in your body where it's supposed to occur anyway. So what we're going to work on is that long, deep exhalation where we're now starting to try to find that light tension, maybe like east and west of your belly button. When you're correctly engaging that deep abdominal muscle, what you should feel is this drawing in effect. So we often cue in a class to draw your belly button in towards your spine. So that is what it should feel like. If it feels like when you're trying to activate your muscles, if it feels like you're creating tension that's puffing out into your fingertips, you're doing it incorrectly. So let's try maybe 3 breaths, specifically focusing on that exhale. As you exhale on that 6 count, we're visualizing drawing that belly button in towards your spine, okay? So hands come back to the rib cage. We're going to inhale for 4 to prepare. And now we exhale for 6, drawing that belly button in towards the spine. Let's do 3 more like that. Exhaling for 6. Two more. Inhaling for 4. Exhaling for 6. On this last one, let's lower the hands just to the inner portion of the bony part of your pelvis. You should kind of feel your fingertips sink in to the soft tissue there. We'll do a last one there. Especially towards the end of the exhale, you should really start to feel some gentle tension below the surface. So this last breath, once again, we're going to do 4 seconds for the inhale, 6 seconds for the exhale, focusing on drawing belly button in towards the spine. So we inhale for 4 and we exhale for 6. Feeling that light tension that's starting to be created as you draw a belly button to spine. We'll take a break there. I'm going to come on up. So that's the typical sequence I usually start with my clients or my patients when we're starting to try to look to find the deep abdominal muscles when it comes to stabilizing your core for maybe lifting or squatting, and then eventually getting into maybe some of those harder Pilates exercises that specifically work on strengthening our core and finding that better definition in our abdominal muscles. if you followed along with this video and you like some of the things that we did, if you want to practice on your own, try to figure out what level that we worked on that you had trouble with. And that's what I would stick with practicing on a daily basis. Even if you just take 2 minutes each day to practice that, you'll notice a difference within a week, and then we can take it from there. The next video after this will be more specifically working that breath pattern into very basic abdominal exercising, learning how to breathe while you exercise, but also using your breath to start to find that better connection from your core. I hope you guys like this video, and there'll be more like it soon. Any feedback would be great. Enjoy the rest of your day.